Good morning. I'm Dan DeRosa with 19 News Now, coming to you from our digital desk. We're just about to take you out live to the Cleveland Museum of Natural History. A number of county officials are going to be talking about the solar eclipse. The total solar eclipse takes place exactly 4 weeks from today, more specifically this afternoon. And so we have Executive Chris Ronayne as well as David Gilbert from Destination Cleveland, the Cleveland Museum of Natural History. The Cleveland Museum of the Metro Parks is going to be involved in this announcement. So let's take you there live.
Of Cleveland and to this community. So we're really excited to share it with all of you. But today we are here to talk about the solar eclipse. And I just want to say it's all about location, location, location. And we are so lucky because the next eclipse won't be here until 2045. So all the way from Ohio to Texas, this will be one of the most exciting events of the year. So I want to remind everyone that the universe is within all of us. I want to remind all of you how special each and every one of you are here, and that we are all made of stardust. That's pretty powerful. And so it is incredibly fitting that our Natural History Museum would celebrate this event, and the city of Cleveland would celebrate this event, because it's happening right in our backyard. So why are we doing this? Because we've done a national poll that shows that 90% of Americans want to learn more about science, but they feel as if they're falling behind. And so it's so important for us to showcase these events so that we can talk about science in a way that all of us, even if we never become scientists, understand how important it is, and how important it is to understand the natural world. So we're going to be celebrating all weekend of the eclipse, so please come down to University Circle, come down to all of the events going on throughout the city. And it is now my pleasure to introduce my friend, Chris Ronayne, who has been a tireless public servant who cares so deeply about the importance of city and community. And we should all be proud that he represents us so well, not only here in Cleveland, but really among all of our partnerships throughout not only the nation, but the world. Thank you.
Thank you, Sonia. And I have to say, it's good to be back in University Circle, and it's particularly good to be back at the Cleveland Museum of Natural History. Hi, kids. How are you? Good. It's good to have you with us today. I work for you. I'm Chris Ronayne. I'm your Cuyahoga County executive. We'll talk more about that some other day at a civics class. So today we're here to talk about our total solar eclipse. And I want to say that, you know, it is nice to be at the center of science, arts and culture, healthcare, everything that this place in University Circle represents. It really is a fitting place to be here at Natural History Museum today. I've had kids who've been your age and have grown up in this place. They loved walking the halls here, seeing things like Balto, seeing Happy, seeing Steggy outside. And it is exciting not only to have this total solar eclipse happening right here in our skies in Cleveland here in the coming April, but it's also exciting that the Natural History Museum is going to open new gallery doors the same year. So a lot of great things happening in 2024. Want to thank our members of the media that are with us today to help promote what we're about to do together in this community, as we are literally at the epicenter here on the northern part of our country for the total solar eclipse. So I'm going to introduce a few people in a few minutes. But I want to first, again, welcome our students. It's really, really inspiring to have you here from Bolton Elementary. That's where you guys all go to school, right? Yes? All right. And it is great to have Keisha Bullard here with the kindergarten class. Keisha, where are you? Oh, you're here on behalf of Keisha. Okay. And Marguerite Seltzer, is that you? No? That's you. Okay. Nice to have our teachers here. Tell me your name again. Louise, thank you for being with us today. And you're Marguerite. And you teach our first grade class. So we've got kindergartners, first graders here today. All right, well, happy to see you. And I hope you're as excited as we are about the upcoming eclipse. We're going to talk about that with Destiny, our resident astronomer, here in a minute, Destiny Thomas. And I later want to talk with our team from the Cleveland Metro Parks and also Destination Cleveland about what we're doing. But I want to say hello to some mayors who are here today. If you're a mayor, could you just raise a hand real quick? All right, hello, mayor. Hey, and I got a mayor right here in the front row too. Well, good for you. We need you. We need your leadership. I want to say, again, thank you to our mayors that are out here today. I see Mayor Annette Blackwell from Maple Heights. I see Kim Thomas from Richmond Heights, Eddie Kraus from Solon, Michael Dillon Brennan from University Heights, and also I think joining us later, Mayor Ethan Spencer, our newest mayor in the crowd. Thank you for being out here. And also Keith Ari Benjamin's going to be here from Bradenall, and also Khalil Sarin. Did I miss anybody who's? All right, mayors, thank you. Let's give them a round of applause for being here. Our cities, our communities are going to be a huge part of this when the visitors do come to our town. We're expecting upwards of a couple 100,000 people, weather depending, on coming through. So an opportunity to really showcase what we do here in Cuyahoga County is going to be really terrific. So as you may know, Cuyahoga County students is in the path of totality for this spring's total solar eclipse. And we're thrilled to have the opportunity to capitalize on that and turn this into fun, like we're going to do out at Wade Oval here in University Circle and throughout the Metro Parks and all throughout our communities of Cuyahoga County. But it's also an opportunity to showcase who we are. And so this total solar eclipse is going to be a party, but it's going to be an educational opportunity as well. So watch parties, festivals, rooftop parties, music events, Cuyahoga County has it all. But what I do want to also say to you, and we're going to have another press conference where we're going to talk about operations, safety, and logistics, but I see you students are ahead of the game. Can you all put on these important things for a minute? Right? All right, now would you stand up and show everybody behind you what you're wearing? All right? All right, let's give it up for our students. They're ahead of the game. All right? And you might want to linger so they can take a nice shot at photo of you guys. All right, students, you can sit back down. Thank you for being ready, for being prepared, because we also want to make this safe. But we hope that it's going to be a great April 8th in Cleveland, Ohio, as again, we're at the epicenter of this trajectory for our total solar eclipse. And to fill in some detail about that is astronomer Destiny Thomas, who came to our team at the county the other day and gave a great presentation. I'm sure she will now. Let's welcome back in her own house, Destiny Thomas, to talk about the solar eclipse.
All right. Hello, everybody. Nice to meet you all. Just like Chris said, my name is Destiny Thomas. I'm an astronomer here at the museum, and we're going to talk about the total solar eclipse. So friends, I started here at the museum not too long ago, about 4 years ago, and talking about outer space is one of my favorite things to do. That was me. That was a picture of me. So friends, raise your hand if you've ever seen a total solar eclipse before. Anybody? Yeah, I got some hands up in the air. All right. Now raise your hand if you've never seen a total solar eclipse, ever. So that's more people in our space here. So this is going to be a pretty big deal. And scientifically speaking, this is where the sun is going to be eclipsed by the moon. Since we'll have a total solar eclipse, that'll mean at some point during the eclipse, the moon will 100% cover up the sun. So we get something called totality. Totality. And this will be an experience that only lasts for a couple minutes. So totality for us on April 8th will last for about 3 minutes and 50 seconds. It'll change our environment in a couple different ways, but essentially it'll be experiencing twilight in the middle of the day. Now, from outer space, what's happening is essentially the moon is going to be in between the Earth and the sun, and the Earth is going to fall within the moon's shadow. We got two different levels of shadow, and the darkest part is called the umbra. So anyone within that umbra, the darkest part of the moon's shadow, will get totality. They'll experience a total solar eclipse, and that's what we'll have on April 8th. Now, we only get eclipses during certain times of the year, so we call those eclipse seasons. This is because the moon's orbit is actually tilted. So if we pictured it as a giant hula hoop in space, and we slightly tilted that hula hoop about 5.14 degrees, that would make it where even when the moon passes between the sun and the earth at new moon phase every single month, we don't always get an eclipse. So during certain times of the year, this event is more likely. All right, so what we're looking at here, this is just showing us that path of the moon shadow, the path of the umbra. The path we have there on the left is the path of totality from 2017, our last total solar eclipse we saw from the US. Now this year, that path of totality on the right side, that shows us where the moon shadow is going to cross the US. It'll start in Texas, go through about 13 states altogether, getting all the way up to Maine. Now us here in Cleveland, we have a pretty great spot, just like Sonia said, location, location, location. We are less than 25 miles from the central line. So that means the closer you are to the central line, the longer duration of totality you get to have. So that stage right in the center with that beautiful halo, that's totality. That'll be at 3:15 at the maximum for us here in Cleveland. The very first stage there, first contact, is at 1:59 p.m., about 2 o'clock in the afternoon. That'll be the very start of the eclipse for us here in Cleveland, and the entire experience will be about 2 hours and 30 minutes. Now I want to emphasize right there at totality, that is the time where we can look up at the sun with our unaided eye. So my friends, here you have your eclipse glasses. You're going to wear your glasses for all the times before that beautiful halo and all the times after. All right, and we're going to see so many things just looking up at the sun at totality. So we're going to see beautiful things very close to the disk of the moon, like those beautiful hues of pink and red that shows us the chromosphere, one of the lower levels of the sun's atmosphere. And in addition to that, we'll also be able to see things like prominences. So these are those beautiful wispy, loopy features basically showing us plasma on the sun. And of course, we'll get to see that beautiful halo that is the corona. So that's the sun's upper atmosphere. Now I said this is going to change our environment. So first things first, it's going to be pretty dark for those 3 minutes and 50 seconds. Dark enough to see planets as well as stars in the middle of the afternoon. So this shows us a couple of those planets we'll be able to see. Really close to the horizon, we'll have Saturn and Mars. And then past the sun and the moon, we'll have Jupiter. And then we'll also be able to see Venus, the brightest planet we get to see from Earth. So that goes without saying that this is something you don't want to miss. So I know we talked about safety a bit already. This guy, he's over-prepared, which is pretty excellent. So in addition to having your eclipse glasses, there's a couple other things you can use to see those partial phases of the eclipse. So you can do something where you are indirectly observing the eclipse. Here someone is actually projecting the sun's light onto a different surface. So you can see there, it almost looks like a smiley face. This is showing us the partial phases of the eclipse. Now this will also happen naturally as the sun's light is passing through things like the branches on trees. And of course you can have your glasses as well. Those are pretty easy to slide on and then slide right off. Or you can get pretty creative and you can wear something like this that creates a pretty cool photo opportunity. Pretty cool. So you can use a welding mask specifically for the welding glass. You want it to be number 14. So that number relates to how dense the glass is. Number 14 is better for solar viewing. Now you want to get really fancy, you can also use a telescope. There are telescopes specifically designed for viewing the sun. They're called solar scopes. Or you can use an ordinary reflector like this one and then simply put a solar filter on the opening. All right, so this is going to be a pretty big deal. It'll be twilight in the middle of the day for a totality. Temperatures can actually drop pretty drastically, up to 20 degrees. You might notice changes with the cloud patterns up in the sky. You may hear nocturnal animals becoming more active, crickets chirping, coyotes howling. You might hear diurnal animals, the ones active during the day, going quiet. So it's going to be a pretty interesting experience, not just for us humans, but also for other living things. All right, so thank you everybody for your time. This is going to be pretty phenomenal. And I want to say, without further ado, I'm really excited for this big event, especially to experience it in my backyard. And now I'm going to welcome up David Gilbert, the president of Destination Cleveland.
Hi, everybody. Thank you. And that was great, Destiny. You know, our community, thankfully, has become very used to hosting major events. I mean, we really are one of the top cities in this country for the hosting of major events. And most of the time, they're events that we compete. We beat out other cities to host, and sometimes they're gifted to us. And we are fortunate that along with the eclipse coming up in a few weeks, it's on the back end of also hosting the NCAA Women's Final Four. So here we have coming up in 3 weeks, two of the biggest events in the country, if not the world, that are going to add such enormous excitement and, quite frankly, economic value to our community. Women's Final Four, April 5th and 7th. We're going to have between 20 and 30,000 people here. The Women's Final Four has really become the largest annual women's sporting event in the world. And we will have over 1,000 national media members who are expected here. And what's amazing is that so many of those people will now be staying over to see the eclipse. And Women's Final Four, the event's been sold out for a long time other than the secondary market, but there are still amazing opportunities for people who come in days before the eclipse to have a lot of great free things to do during the Women's Final Four. There's a great fan fest at the convention center, a basketball bounce, free open practices, lots of other free community events that if you go online you can find and see and be part of. And that event is expected to bring in well over $25 million into the local economy. And then about 5 years ago, we realized that the solar eclipse was going to be passing right over Cuyahoga County, and started to plan way back then for how we could make our community the national epicenter for this event. You know, as Destiny said, this is going across a big swath of the U.S., 13 states, some other major markets, but we feel great that we will be that epicenter. We started gathering well over 2 years ago a lot of fantastic partners like the Museum of Natural History, like NASA, the Great Lakes Science Center, Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, Metro Parks, many others who've put together programming all around the community that we could start to gather under one umbrella to market to the country and, quite frankly, the rest of the world, because there are hundreds of thousands of people who travel every year or every time one of these solar eclipses happen. So what we feel great about is that we really don't know, we're doing an economic impact study that will come out afterward, but somewhere could be north of a couple of 100,000 day and overnight visitors for people that will be throughout Northeast Ohio coming in from the outside specifically to experience the solar eclipse here as opposed to other places. And I think it's a testament to just the great partnerships that we have in this community of people who really want to make 1 + 1 = more than 2 by working together, and all of us are going to be the beneficiaries of it. So we're thrilled that the world is going to be watching us starting on April 5th all the way through April 8th, and it's going to be honestly, a lot of people talk about 2016 as sort of this amazing year in Cleveland when we hosted the Republican Convention, and you had the Cavs Championship, World Series, some other things. And this year is going to rival that, with especially with what's going to happen in a few weeks here in Northeast Ohio. So very excited, some great planning, and it's going to be great for all of our people here and for our economy. And excited to bring up my longtime good friend, Brian Zimmerman, to talk about all the great things the Metro Parks are planning. Thanks.
Do you have a question, or are you just stretching? Want to make sure we get all the questions answered. So I'm Brian Zimmerman, the CEO. Oh, you do have? We'll answer them afterward. That's kind of how I run things, just, little bit of activity. So again, Brian Zimmerman, CEO of Cleveland Metro Parks. From what I've been told, this is like the Super Bowl for like the solar system. When I think of, our educators, we have over 100 plus educators across the 25,000 acres of Cleveland Metro Parks, the 18 park reservations. This is truly a unique opportunity to celebrate science. And this is one of the things that I think this region has planned extremely well for. I think the park guy went last to talk about the weather. The weather is going to be just like it is today. It is going to be gorgeous outside. I have been promised sunny skies. But no, truly, it's one of those very unique things to be prepared for as we're really going into this solar eclipse. Totality, I mean, that's really something that's, it's a really hard, or it's a really strong word. But to be able to see this, and I liken it to the Kentucky Derby is like 2 minutes. So this is like 2 Kentucky Derbies, really putting it into perspective of how fast this will go. Now, the totality, it happens on, kind of both ends, but when this happens, this will be truly remarkable. We won't see this again in our lifetime. So to be able to have this here in Cleveland, I can tell you from Ohio Travel and Tourism, Destination Cleveland, we use the word collaboration a lot. This has truly been a collaborative process. It is going to be not without its challenges from if the weather is exactly like it is today. Just imagine what it's going to look like here with a few more 100,000 people here. So again, just I think be prepared. The other thing is if you plan on taking pictures of it, please put the glasses over your phone. Otherwise, you will melt it. You will actually melt the phone. So just, again, being prepared, talk to your citizen scientists, take classes, use the museum, use NASA. I mean, we have so many great, amazing resources here to own something that we had nothing to do with, but we're going to take credit for it. So again, thank you so much for having us, and I look forward to April 8th and totality.
Thank you again, Sonia, Destiny, David, Brian. Thank you guys for all you're doing to get ready for this. As Brian Zimmerman just said, nobody asked for it, but it's coming our way, and we're going to make the most of the total solar eclipse being here at the center line in Cleveland. I was in New York State this past week, coming back from an event this weekend, and there were billboards along the shoreline. Place to be, place to be. Actually, the place to be is Cleveland, Ohio. This is the place to be in Cuyahoga County. And as you take that trajectory all the way down to Texas, you can go to Waco. But we encourage you to stay here and enjoy the fact that you are at the center of it all. This is a regional event. We are excited to partner with our regional partners in the counties adjacent to us. The county of Lorain County, just to the west of us, is also going to be a great view spot, as is Lake along the shoreline. As we go forward, I would encourage you to take a look at all of the websites. Destination Cleveland for sure, that'll chronicle events, Metro Parks to understand good spots to be at, and of course the Natural History Museum, the Great Lakes Science Center, NASA, and Cuyahoga County itself will list these events for you guys, working with our mayors too on what they're doing in their town. So we want to thank you again for being a part of this. We want you to be prepared for this. I want to ask our students one more time. Would you show the best way to be prepared? Would you put on your glasses one more time? All right, all right. Everybody got them on? Now will you stand up one more time? All right, because you are also our student educators being here today. Turn around and say hello to the cameras with your glasses on. All right, let's give it up for our students, folks, for being here today from Bolton Elementary School. All right, you guys can sit back down, but really, students, thank you. This is a really spectacular opportunity for you and all of your fellow colleagues at school to take it in. And in that note, I do want to thank our metropolitan school districts throughout Cuyahoga County, CMSD represented here today, but all of our school districts for helping educate our students on what they're going to see. And speaking again of educators, nobody like the Natural History Museum, the Science Center, and NASA itself to tell you really what this is all about from a astronomy standpoint. Destiny, thank you for a great presentation. I know you're busy on the road with it because you came to see us 2 weeks ago, but getting out there to show everybody what we're actually seeing is really exciting. This is the place to be. That's our message today. Be safe, enjoy it, get out and experience it, educate yourself in advance about what you're going to see, and don't miss great places like Wade Oval. We're going to be working with University Circle, so look at their website too, universitycircle.org. I remember that one, Eric. But all of these partners, get out and check them out, what they're doing. One more time, Mayor Spencer, Mayor Brennan, Mayor Kraus, Mayor Thomas, and Mayor Blackwell, thank you for being with us today, and any mayors I'm missing. This is a community affair. We are 1.2 million persons in our Cuyahoga County family, but we expect to add a couple 100,000 more on that day, visitors that are journeying their way to the center of it all right here. There's also a game, if you hadn't heard about it, over at Progressive Field, just about in the 5 o'clock hour afterwards. So it's going to be a busy day in CLE and beyond. And in that note, we're going to have another press conference with Mayor Bibb and the team over at the City of Cleveland. Stay tuned for that in a few days, just about safety, logistics, and operations. But again, I want to thank you guys. We want to make sure that this is on the mark, that it's on everybody's radar, that April 8th, Greater Cleveland is the place to be. And will you be here? You going to watch? All right, keep those glasses on. Thank you all for being with us today. Mia, we can take some questions offline. And Sonia Winter said maybe if you want to explore a little bit of what you're seeing at the new Museum of Natural History. Congratulations now in your second century of growth, and they're going to be opening their doors to more gallery space here this year. So come back to the Natural History Museum and visit us in University Circle. Thanks again.
Dan DeRose with 19 News as we wrap up. County Executive Chris Ronayne there at the Natural History Museum. Saying this is the place to be. We have been talking about that for weeks and months on end. Cleveland 19 is going to be out at the Lake Erie Crushers to have a viewing party. But as you heard, these parties are going to be all over Northeast Ohio. We will also be at the Great Lakes Science Center. We will be at Progressive Field because, yes, there is the home opener that day. They're opening the gates at 2 o'clock so that people can watch the eclipse from the stadium and then watch the home opener. There really is a lot going on. I was showing you these animations from NASA throughout the news conference. This is the path of totality. If you look at the upper left-hand corner, there we are about 3:14 in the afternoon, and it moves out at about 3:17, 3:18. This is a sped up animation. This animation is about 1 minute every second. So it will not be this fast. You will not have to worry about missing it. This is just a sped up animation. You can see the timestamp in the upper left. There's another, every second represents another minute. And then ultimately, I love this animation also from NASA, basically showing what this event is. This is the moon blocking the sunlight, sending down a beam of shadow. Just think about a beam of light, but you can see this beam of shadow coming down on April 8th as it enters into South America and then into Texas right about there, and as it makes its way to Northeast Ohio again. As you heard from the astronomer there at the Natural History Museum, it'll be about 1:59 that the moon starts to move into position. We don't hit totality until about 3:13, 3:12 in Northeast Ohio. And then that totality, that full darkness will last for about 3 minutes and 50 seconds. So you can see that animation was sped up quite a bit because our total darkness will last for just about 3 minutes. It's going to be an exciting day. We will have you covered. Darkness in the land is what we're calling it. And we have had just an immense amount of coverage, and we will continue to do so in these next 4 weeks as we get closer. Everybody's fingers are crossed for weather that cooperates. We know that can be difficult in Northeast Ohio in the spring. If we have any other breaking news, it'll be here on our digital platforms. Our 11 o'clock news is halfway through on CW43, and then look for our noon news on Channel 19. Until then, I'm Dan DeRose with 19 News. Have a great afternoon.
19 News is everywhere. Download our CT